Hi, everybody. Welcome to We Are Beloved, and welcome to my latest raw and unscripted video. It has been quite a while since I've done one of these, and I feel like it's time. And also, I'm totally lying to you. But you know what? This video is going to be pretty raw. So I guess that kind of makes me telling you a half-truth. Now, first off, dear Erasmus. Oh my god. Okay, that was bad. Oh my god. Okay. Like, can't help what the body does. Okay, guys? So, alright. So, dear Erasmus, do you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna stop picking on 16th century theologians who can't defend themselves for just a little bit, because, honestly, I think there's a little bit of spring cleaning that needs to happen on this channel. You might also be asking yourself, looking at me, so why is your makeup a mess? I mean, why does it look like you've been at some kind of pagan SEX ritual in the rain, and why do you honestly kind of smell like that too? None of your business! But I do want to give you a bit of a content warning, because we are going to talk a bit about SEX on this video, and if you find that offensive or somehow triggering, you might want to leave. Now, the plan was to make a next video in the series about faith. And this is a topic that's dear to my heart, because on the one hand, I have a scientific worldview that isn't going to change. And on the other hand, I'm a 12-stepper. And that involves a lot of faith. And never the twain shall meet. Or shall they? Well, we'll get to that in a bit. And that video is still in the works. And I do plan to make that. And that is, yes, going to happen. But like I said, spring cleaning. Now, this whole thing that I'm doing now was actually inspired by another YouTuber who, about a week ago, as of this shoot, got on his channel and said to his 200,000 subscribers, like, guys, not having fun here. Don't want it to be that way. I'm trying to prove something that I'm not, and don't want to be that person. And there was a psilocybin mushroom involved, and I thought, this is really inspiring and amazing, and it's kind of time for me to do that. Like, that and that. Some of you might then go, like, okay, wait a minute. You just said 12-step program, and then now you're talking about a psilocybin mushroom. Like, what are you on? Okay, so let's explain this a little bit. Now, this is not an excuse. It's not a justification. And it's not a justification for anybody else who really does have said problems to, like, go and... I didn't say you could do that, okay? What I will tell you is the reason that I'm in a 12-step program is not drugs or alcohol. Like, that is for real legit. You might be surprised by this, but the reason I'm in a 12-step program is because my addiction is hiding from the world. Like, straight face. Okay, so you're painted blue. You're on YouTube. You're out as a trans woman. Hiding from the world? Let's just say that this stuff goes really, really, really deep. And I think by the time you've seen the rest of this video, it might actually even start to make a little sense to you. With that, I think it's time that we get started. And we are going to, like I said, talk about SEX, and then we're going to talk about how all of what I'm about to tell you about SEX then relates to this channel. So let's talk about SEX. My experience of SEX came with a lot of conditioning. Now, I don't think that's unusual, but the particular situation for me was the particular situation. Now, You've probably figured out by now that I am a transgender female, and I was assigned male at birth, and that came with certain expectations, including about how I would want to be sexual. Now, those expectations were sort of articulated by a bunch of 12-year-old boys in 1980s sitcoms when I thought myself a 12-year-old boy. And it basically came down to this: stick the thing in the thing, thereby earn a point and be a man. If you earn enough points, then you get to be an alpha male and you get to dominate all the other men or boys or whatever they are. Now, I saw a lot of 12-year-old boys around me when I thought I was a 12-year-old boy who really looked forward to playing this game and really looked forward to the actions that this game apparently involved. And for me, it was like, wait a minute. I like painting myself blue. No, wait a minute. No, this doesn't. And I had this other problem. Like, I found myself, like, actually kind of empathizing with the fibrous husks that you were supposed to stick the thing inside of. And if I had examined deeply enough, I probably would have started to wonder if maybe I myself was actually one of those fibrous husks. And that was not a thought that I could have. There, for one thing, wasn't the language, but even if there was, yeah, I don't think that would have gone well with Dad. I didn't know what I wanted, and there was just what I was supposed to want, and then there was what I think I really did want that I wasn't. Yeah. Well, in this situation, I did what any reasonable person would do. I decided to take on the role of pathetic and doofus. I mean, people told me that's what I was. And better that than be found out that you might be like kind of a vaguely threatening something to the entire tribe and community. So I'm going to try now to stop performing and like get into like what's really here for me, because I had this, like, interest in cosplay, but there was a point at which it stopped being an interest and started becoming armor. And if you had the bizarre luck of actually, like, finding yourself in an intimate situation with me, what I essentially would have done to you was, don't look at me. Look at the cosplay. Touch the armor. Do not touch me. And where did that leave me? Where did all of this leave me? It left me very alone. It left me locked inside myself. It made it impossible for me to have any kind of real intimacy or love. And it made me, like, really extremely goal-oriented in this really terrible and messed up way. Like, I kind of ran a conversion therapy program on myself without anybody else knowing. Because, like, if anybody had found out that I was trying to, like, fix myself, then they would have known something was wrong and, like, what's wrong. And, like, so anyway, I will acknowledge that there was no external conversion therapy program. There really wasn't. But I kind of ran one on myself. And I found myself, like, yearning and feeling a lot of pressure to perform and having to prove all the time to the opposite gender and the opposite gender to that, whatever that is. Basically, I realized by the time I graduated college that I wasn't going to fix myself. Like, I'd kind of had that chance and missed that boat. So then, like, kind of being out on the street by myself, like, after having that diploma, it was kind of like, you're going to be kind of stuck in this prison for the rest of your life. And I was very ashamed. And I felt very hopeless and very defeated. And I froze. Now, if you, as a possibly intimate interest, encountered me as I was emanating this amazingly dark way of being, how would you have been left? Honestly, I can't quite say because I'm not you and I don't want to project a bunch of my own crap on you, but I will say that I got feedback from people over the years and I do relate to people having been this way at times with me and how I felt. So I will say, generally speaking, I think what it kind of comes down to is confused, feeling used and manipulated, judged, no access to any kind of love or intimacy yourself, unwanted. Like, is it me? Is it me? Is there something wrong with me? Why don't you want me? Creeped out. One colleague in my 20s summed it up quite nicely. She said, interacting with you is kind of like interacting with a computer. Now, the fact is, I probably would have been trapped in this prison for the rest of my life, except I did go into a 12-step program. And that 12-step program revealed to me that I'm trans. And that hiding who I really was from myself and from the world was actually doing real harm to myself and others. Now I'm going through that 12-step program again. And what I'm realizing is that my past is a mess, but it's not exactly the mess that I thought it was. And that's coming up as quite a surprise. As a matter of fact, it's kind of messing with my sleep patterns of late. Then there was this weekend. And I do want to say, happy Beltane. I hope you enjoyed it. And in all seriousness, this was actually the first sexual experience that I have had since I came out as trans 2 years ago. Going into it, I resolved that I was no longer going to be dishonest with myself or anyone else about what I wanted and did not want. I'm not going to try to pretend to be anybody that I wasn't. And for the first time in my life, I did not experience any pressure to play the game. I could just be. It was a group experience, I will acknowledge. And everyone there was very much in that space too. Like, really kind of made it a life way, some of them in amazing ways, to be like, I'm going to tell you what I want. I'm going to tell you what I don't want. I'm going to take care of myself, and you get to take care of yourself. In such a space, with the mushrooms and the reinterpretation of my past, it's like messing up my sleep and this freedom to be myself. The first time in my life was I actually able to really feel into, I'm talking at a profound cellular, somatic, whatever you want to call it level, into the armor that I have been wearing. I could see into the source of it and recognize for the first time in my life the pain. I realized that I don't really want sex as a man at all. But especially not in the way 1980s television and 12-year-old boys told me that I was supposed to want sex as a man. I really am not a man. Now, this kind of came as a surprise, and it's been coming as a surprise with my step work as well, that I did sort of have this fear that okay, if I go through this again, I'm going to find out that the whole trans thing is just some big gnarly excuse to just not deal. What I'm finding is the opposite. It's when I was there in this experience, I witnessed my energy, and it was that of a female. And I realized for the first time in my life that yes, I am actually dysphoric about what's down there, and that it felt like an act of dishonesty to myself to stick the thing in the thing. Thereby I am not vile, and thereby I am fucking hurt. Now, vile can't be fixed, but fucking hurt can be held with compassion. And when it is, it tends to heal. It's okay for me to ask for what I want and to get what I want. And if you judge me, that's your effing problem. At this event, I experienced being naked for the first time. Like, truly naked. And I realized in that space that it's possible to be kind to myself and to be present with myself. And not only with myself, but you. I could be forgiving of myself. And I had room to finally recognize that I'm actually in the process and have the opportunity and the challenge of getting to learn how to be sexual in a completely new and totally different way in alignment with my authentic gender identity. Now, you guys, I really am hoping that does involve a lot of cosplay and hide and seek and all that kind of stuff, because it's really fun. But I don't have to hide behind that anymore. I don't have to use that as a weapon to keep you at a distance anymore. So I promised you guys that I was going to relate everything I just shared with you back to this channel and why I feel the need for the spring cleaning that I do. And it comes down to this. While I was having this experience this weekend, I had the realization that this belief system about myself as vile and all wrong is also trampling this channel. My vision for this channel is indeed to truly inspire you and entertain you with amazing ideas and insights that transform the way you see yourself and life and the world. My vision for this channel really is ultimately to, at least in some small way, change the world. But what's been going on behind the scenes is that I've been trying to prove that I am somebody. I've been trying to prove that I'm worthy of your time. I've been trying to prove that I know what I'm doing and that I can do it all on my own. That I'm a big girl. I gotta convince you that I'm a genius. It kind of comes down to, like, I've been fighting to prove that I have a right to exist on the planet and proving it through making a YouTube channel. And you better believe that I'm a genius, because if you don't... How that leaves me is essentially I am sitting here afraid to get caught, and also I'm afraid to fail. I have to be perfect. I have to perform. And perfection is like in everything. I mean, the philosophical ideas have to be unassailable, and any of you who know the truth about logic, well, there are no such thing as unassailable ideas. It just doesn't work that way. You can have good ideas, but there aren't perfect ideas. That just doesn't exist. I've also been hiding behind the arts. And in all of this struggling to be perfect, in all this fear of failure, I find myself afraid to risk and afraid to truly experiment. And that really gets in the way of your ability to grow. And then it starts to feel like effort. And then I start to think like, well, am I doomed? Is this effort completely doomed? Well, let's find out. Okay, let's see how many likes and how many follows and how many people smash that button. And if you don't smash that button, then I find myself resenting you as my fan base. And like, that is not the experience I want to have, and that's not the experience I want to give you. And then it's like, okay, well, I'm comparing myself to so and so. Why are they blowing up and not me? And jealousy. That's the final outcome. It's like doomed and jealousy. Like, okay, so this is not the experience that I'm trying to have creating this really cool YouTube channel. And the fact is that I deserve better. And so do you as my audience. And so does all this stuff. So what this is this is a lifetime of writing. It's not everything, but it's a lot of it. There's a lot more online. And this kind of, I imagine, gives you the picture. Now, when I share this stuff with the world, it becomes the seed of awesomeness. Not to say that there probably aren't some bad ideas in here. But even the bad ones, when they get shared and they get taken out into the world, it's like those can do and possibly become like the seed of awesome, okay? But when they stay inside the books because like I'm afraid to share them with the world, then they just become more of my armor and more of my pity party. I did not burn my life down 5 times and then come out as a trans woman so that I could create a new false personality and a new facade to protect and a new bludgeon that I could use on myself over and over again. So, you might not have noticed any decline in quality of my content. And I don't think I have either, to be perfectly honest. But given this state of mind behind the scenes, it was coming. And my commitment to you is that we're nipping the shit in the bud. So, how would all of this affect you as my audience? The fact is, like, I don't really know, because I'm not you, and I don't want to project my crap all over you. But I will say this much. So, like, if I'm in a room with a content creator, let's just say a comedian. And this comedian is like, I'm gonna prove to you that I'm funny. I'm gonna make you think I'm funny. Oh, why is it working? Why did you think I'm funny? I'm funny! If I was in a room with that comedian and watching them perform, how would I feel? I would probably feel, hey man, it's okay. And you're getting there, and I totally support you, and I believe in you. And, but this is kind of a lot of work. And I'm kind of bored, and I'm a little scared, and there are dishes that I have to do at home, so I am gonna leave now. Guys, I don't want to be that comedian. The truth is, guys, that I've been really hard on myself. Unfairly and impossibly. The fact is that, like, I'm new at this, and I sometimes forget that. I'm new at YouTube. I'm new at being on camera. I'm new at being this person. I don't even really know how to be here yet, and it's kind of like being a teenager who just shot up a foot in the last year and is stumbling into things and crashing into things and kind of going, sorry. Kind of like I've been trained to believe my whole life that I'm a sheep and really believe that I'm a sheep, and the whole time I've been a lion. And like when sheep get eaten, it's, did I do that? Okay. So what I'm essentially saying, well, I'll also mention to you while I'm here that I don't know how to run a Patreon. And this whole business of, if you want to succeed on YouTube, you have to put out a video on Friday at 3 o'clock without fail. It's like, okay, yeah, guys, I get it. And my circadian rhythms, I've been suppressing them my whole life. I've been suppressing my artistic rhythms my whole life in order to be somebody for the man. So here we are. It's not a lack of content. It's actually a situation like the muse jumps over mountains over and over and over again. And I'm with my little perfectionistic self on crutches trying to keep up. And there is a rhythm to all of this. And I'm learning how to trust that. And things are going to be a little erratic for a while. And that's just that. There's still a lot. There's still a lot that I'm having to figure out about this channel. Like, what ratio of sci-fi to philosophy? What ratio of funny as shit to dark, serious, and heavy and grave? What ratio of script to improv? I'm still learning. And I want to give myself permission to do that learning. Because, you know what? That's where the joy is. The joy of being a content creator is learning by doing, and that is so what I am hungry to do. And the reality is that being an artist is really hard. Being an artist is staring at a blank canvas. The essence of uncertainty and the unknown. And that first stroke is risk. It's always going to be that way, no matter what the medium. And that path of risk is not for everybody. And totally valid and totally okay if it's not for you. But for me, I've been trying to deny it my whole life to appease other people. And I can't do that shit anymore. I can't deny anymore that this path is right for me, no matter what it costs me. And thereby, it's time to give myself permission to practice what I've been preaching. What have I been preaching? Step away from the temptation to rationalize. Be compassionate with yourself. Be willing to dare to step into the unknown and admit to yourself that you are uncertain. And that uncertainty may be the state of things for a very, very long time. That's terror. And that's crazy. And that's insane. And that's also where the joy is. So I am officially declaring to you that I am giving myself permission to go there with myself. The chance of being an artist, the chance of being at risk, the chance to be a mess and be free to be a mess, and make beautiful, amazing, and maybe even transformational things out of being a mess, that is worth the whole journey. So I am telling you guys that I am daring to let go of the belief that I am vile. I am daring to let go of the belief that I have to prove my worth. I am daring to believe that I don't have to be perfect, and that it's okay to not know what this damn thing is going to look like. So, what's this channel going to look like now? Honestly, I don't completely know myself. And that's okay. Those of you looking in from the outside might not see even that much very different. Like, you're going to see a lot of art, you're going to see a lot of costume. There's still going to be crazy sets, and you're going to see a lot of ironic jokes. It's probably going to look like other creators for a while as I continue to explore and discover my own voice. And you're going to see a lot of things woven into ultimately some bizarre philosophical diatribe and thought experiment and whatever that all ends up looking like. But I'm not going to hide behind that stuff anymore. And I'm going to challenge myself to be a little bit more lighthearted about it. And to not take myself so goddamn seriously. Now, on the other hand, I might be dark and deep as shit. But even there, I challenge myself to carry it lightly. What I can tell you is that it's going to be an adventure. Whatever the hell it actually ends up looking like. And I, for one, am giving myself permission from here on out to go off script. Good night, and fuck off. Bye.